What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about LegalZoom. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been really happening with the company, and why you need to add this company to your watch list. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off on Friday, it did piggyback off of the broader market, so it did go up 4.17%. Over this last week, give or take, it's been on a very positive trajectory and kind of low volume. 1.4 million shares being traded, 1.9 is the average. The only negative about this company is it's primarily held by institutions, which I think in general, for those of you that watch a lot of YouTube channels, whether it be mine or someone else's, like popular stocks is very heavily retail driven stocks, such as EVs, like fintechs. A lot of retail kind of gravitates towards those, whereas good credible companies such as LegalZoom just gets brushed under the radar. So essentially this is the kind of overview of this. So the ownership, institutions hold 51.82% of the float, and PE/VC firms is 31.07. Public, aka retail, is 9.65. So retail doesn't really have so much of a hold with this company, and this is why you do see typically lower volume. But at the end of the day, if you look at their financials, they are profitable. So in reality, I see nothing really wrong with this company. A lot of their fundamental business, on a side note, is truly linked to consumers. So the consumer aspect has been somewhat lagging, but with the recent data and now optimism associated to rate cuts, this is where you could see a very nice bump up in the stock price. So essentially, for the September 18th meeting, there is a 24% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut, and then a 76% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. And that's not even counting essentially the November 7th meeting, where there's most likely going to be another 50/75 basis point cut, as you can kind of see right here. So all in all, consumer buying power is going to really be going up. You do see at the same time the fear and greed index is in the neutral category, so people's appetite for risk is increasing. So once again, I'd see absolutely nothing wrong with this company itself. So this is why I've done a video, especially when it sold off due to their earnings. I said it was a screaming buying opportunity at 550, and I did buy, and I've been kind of averaging up. Typically averaging up isn't my forte. What I don't like to do, it's a big psychological barrier for a lot of investors. Averaging down is relatively easy, but averaging up is a whole different ballgame. For those of you that kind of know that, you've been around the block once or twice. But this is why I wanted to do a video about this company. And even though it is up, kind of looking over here over the last 5 days, a good 12.12%, there's still a hell of a lot more room for it to go up. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. So I'm going to go over some of the data points, what analysts are saying, and everything else. Starting off with shorts. I like to bring up shorts as more of a benchmark rather than anything. This isn't a squeeze play, so just kind of be aware of that. But 3.86% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 4.17 million overall shares. Utilization is 0.29, short score is 31.36. So the fact is that shorts have been really lingering for a while now, as you can kind of see. But essentially, I feel like once rate cuts do happen, which most likely will be occurring within the next month, you will see a pullback from shorts, getting back to maybe their lows of 3%. So once again, that's something positive for at least a foreseeable future, but beside the point, it's not going to prompt a squeeze at all. So moving on to options, kind of low dollar value. Getting into options similar to just the common stock, so it's not the most popular crazy stock, but still fundamentally the bare bones of it is solid. So this is why I wanted to do a video, and going forward I think I might be starting to focus a little bit more on these types of companies that I am truly investing for the long term, and then also that isn't so volatile as a lot of popular retail stocks. Because yeah, investing in, for instance, EVs is very fun, exciting. In the foreseeable future, it's going to pay off very well, But from now until the foreseeable future, you're going to have 100% swings either direction, going to make your hair turn gray. This company, slow, stable, profitable. I like this. So again, I'm going to kind of transition and do a little bit more of these types of videos. Nothing wrong with everything else though, so just be aware. But as far as this goes, so it's, like I said, not that popular, so it only does have monthly chains. Looking at the open interest though, you do see a consensus for it to be kind of back in that 7 to 750 range, maybe even a little bit further. It's kind of all over the place, not really much to analyze based on this. But again, institutions do really like it. You can tell that based on some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market. So almost every single day, there's at least 1 or 2 big transactions coming from institutions. Like I said, majority of the flow is held by institutions, so absolutely nothing wrong with that. And one side note why I wanted to bring this up is if you look at the dark pool is relatively quiet, and even in some cases there's no transactions on some days. So going back to the primarily retail driven stocks, you're a little bit more prone to manipulation, whereas with companies such as this, not so much. So that might be a little bit more of a breath of fresh air to some individuals as well. So even more reason to add that to your watch list. Based on the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $5.83. So for as long as LegalZoom is above that pivot point, then you can anticipate between 733 and 763 in the foreseeable future. So I see that as extremely optimistic. Another good 15-20% run from these levels. And like I said, at 550, that was a screaming buying opportunity. Analysts, though, are somewhat hesitant about it. And in my opinion, I think it has to do with more larger macro events and consumers' buying power just diminishing a little bit. So you do have some of the latest ratings. 8 days ago, $6 price target done by Morgan Stanley. Elizabeth, 46% success rating. 9 days ago was a hold, JMP, and Andrew, who has a 52% success rating, and the rest are associated to their recent earnings. So you have a 6, 7, and an 8. As a consensus, 733 is kind of the price targets, and that does represent a 10.81% upside. So let me know your thoughts on LegalZoom based on this. If you're looking at trading it, want to get in, kind of just watch for some of these strong support and resistance points. Right now with it at $6.62, it is right below this pivot point right here. So trading between that 563 and 679. So that's the strong support and resistance points. If, for instance, this upcoming week you have PCE, GDP coming out, that could be that deciding factor to really push LegalZoom above this pivot point right here and into this pivot in R1. So like I said, the Elliott Wave technicals is kind of forecasting a high of around 760 in the short term. Very much feasible. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And aside from that though, we're about to test that 50-day moving average most likely early next week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be more technical driven days. So that is where you'll see more of a retest of that 50-day moving average. And it's been a while since it's actually touched that. Like I said, there was bad earnings right here that really did bring it down. And yeah, it's been an unfortunate thing, and a lot of that, like I've already mentioned, is linked to consumers and just a lot of the data points at that time. But if there is a negative that does come out associated to the company or broader market, you might see a significant pullback only because stochastic is at 91, so pretty much considered overbought. So not necessarily the best, but like I said, sometimes some stocks can stay in overbought status for a while, especially if they are correcting. A number of retail investors, or just number of investors in general, are starting to get back into LegalZoom, as you can kind of see, ever since it looks like the 12th. Or maybe around the 14th. But all in all, I think LegalZoom is definitely one of those stocks that you need to add to your watch list. Let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And don't forget to take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it. They give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Link to this is in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.